harmony. So, from the letter to Peter, chapter 3, he says, finally, everyone must live in harmony, be sympathetic, love each other, have compassion and be humble. Don't pay people back with evil for the evil they do to you, or ridicule those who ridicule you. Instead, bless them, because you were called to inherit a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good, seek peace and pursue it. You know, often in the letters in the New Testament, the opening words and the closing words are very significant. They sort of set the scene, what it's all about. And if you ever write a letter to someone or a greeting card, think carefully how you write that final statement, because that's the one that probably will really ring with them, you know. It's funny with my grandchildren because it started when they were young with love you, Nana. Now it's love you lots and lots and lots, Nana. Love you lots, and I respond sometimes, love you lots, no, love you more. And it just goes, you know. But it's the final thing, and it's if they don't want to say goodbye or end a letter without making clear what's important to them. So this is the end of the letter, and Peter says, finally, everyone must live in harmony. So that's where I'm coming from, all right? Are we living in harmony as a church? Signs that we are, sometimes if we're honest, signs that we're not, yeah, because we're all so different. Maestro was conducting the orchestra, and Eric's on the piano. So you have this marvellous introduction, and then Review points to... I'm playing all the right notes, not necessarily in the right order. You know, we're like notes in God's composition, you might say, God's harmony, and we're all different notes. Some of us are the same, some of us are different, very different. And God can use our notes, our gifts, just as they are at any time. But the way he wants to use them is along with other people's gifts and notes. And sometimes what we forget is that that means there's got to be a sort of order, you might say. I've got to be aware of someone else's notes, someone else's giftedness. I've got to be aware that there's times when my giftedness is right to use, and there are times when perhaps I need to step back, because what's happening is not my strength, it's somebody else's. And that we make good music, you might say, for God together, when, as notes, we're all the right notes, but we get this sense of order and this awareness of each other. Because music isn't that simple. Now, I was going to demonstrate it on the keyboard, but having tried it before the meeting, I'm not now, okay. So, just give me, say, 5 notes individually, but up a scale, give me a scale. All right, 5 notes, quite interesting, not particularly interesting. Can you turn that into a tune for me? Can you turn it into one I recognise? I changed the music.
I don't know where that went.
He's got the whole world in his hands. What a difference, okay? All the right notes, but now in the right order according to a composer, according to the great maestro. So we can have individual notes playing in a different order, in a different way, and we get harmony. We also can have what are called chords, where they tell me you can put notes side by side and press down on them, and you'll have a chord. No, let's have a harmonious chord. Okay. So again, it's all about how we're aware of each other. Each note is aware of each other, who we can work with, who it doesn't work so well. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what my thinking's coming from. I'm not sure that's a very clear illustration, but we're all notes. I think for me the key is when I gave it to Stephen to demonstrate it into the maestro's hands, we got harmony, we got it working properly. When we give our lives into God's hands and say, use me, he really can bring about harmony and togetherness that isn't just in our church, it reaches out to whoever we meet. So we get some idea that it doesn't just happen. We have the gifts, it doesn't just happen. We have to consecrate them to the Lord, the maestro, which will make beautiful harmony with it, but we also have to be aware of each other. Yes. Let's read this verse together, 2 verses, 3 verses. Right. Put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. So above everything, put on love. Surround all this with love. When you want to say something without thinking that's maybe not nice or said in the heat of the moment, sometimes just pause and think, is this something I would say in love? Probably not. Probably not. Okay. You know, just for one last illustration, I don't know if you've heard of Leonard Bernstein, famous musician, composer, I think I'm right in saying. He was once asked which instrument was the most difficult to play. My daughter learnt the French horn at one time. It was that difficult, reading the music and what have you. But no, that's not Bernstein's answer. He thought for a moment and he said, the instrument most difficult to play? Second fiddle. I can get plenty of first violinists, but to find someone who can play the second fiddle with enthusiasm, that's a problem. And yet, if we have no second fiddle, we have no harmony. I like that. Some of us are afraid to use our gifts because we feel a bit second fiddleish, you know what I mean? We feel we're inadequate compared with others. We haven't got much to give. But I love that illustration because it's saying there isn't anything that's not much to give in the composer's book. In fact, you might have the most vital thing to make us work effectively as a church, to make us love effectively. So no second fiddle syndromes amongst us. Let's just recognise each other's worth and our own worth. Let's give ourselves worth as well and say together we can make marvellous music for the Lord. And of course it is about living in peace with each other, really. It's another, peace is almost, in another context, a word for harmony. We talk about harmonious relationships, don't we? And we mean peaceful relationships. So let's say together the prayer that's attributed to St. Francis of Assisi. The song that's based on it says, Lord, make me a channel of your peace. But I like this, and I know it's instrument in a different sense. It's instrument perhaps meaning a tool, but I think we can apply it to what we're saying today. Let's say it together. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is error, the truth. Where there is doubt, the faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Amen. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.